Hey everybody, Ramey here, and today I'm going to talk about tips for teaching online using video. The first time you're going to go virtual, the first time you're starting to prep lessons and you're going to, maybe you're even just here because you're going to do like just a video presentation or a video interview. I'm going to give you tips for how to do that, some basic things that you can make sure you do so that it's much better than you just starting from scratch. All right. So let's talk about some various things to think about. So you're going to do a video presentation, what do you need to prepare? What do you need to think about? Okay, so first of all, let's talk about your scene and your setup. Okay, so you're doing a video presentation. People are going to see you. So what do you see in your camera? Like, what do you see when you look in the mirror? Is your hair brushed? Do you have a shirt that you like? That kind of stuff. I'm not telling you how you need to dress or present yourself, but do it so that it's appropriate for the audience that's going to see you. If you're doing a video presentation for maybe just some friends, maybe it doesn't matter if you wear a hat or your hair is brushed, but if you're doing it for a class or students or like your boss or something, maybe it matters that you're more presentable. So think about your presentation. Next, in addition to that, they're not just seeing you. The people who are watching your presentation are going to see everything in your background. So what's behind you? What are they going to see? I've watched video presentations where like the person has like a bunch of dirty laundry and just weird stuff in their presentation. So at least just clean up. I'm not saying it needs to be like this awesome background setup of like this perfect bookshelf or classroom or like, amazing ocean view or something like that. Some video software like Zoom, you can like, add in like a virtual background, which doesn't always work that great and it's kind of funny, but I'm just saying like prepare what your background's going to be. At the very least, clean up. My preference, a nice plain background, or set something up so that it's very ordinary, simple, clean, tidy. Just make sure you're paying attention to your background. Where are you going to do this? What's your background going to be like? All right. So that's your scene. Next, we got tech. What kind of tech are we talking about? First of all, we have your video camera. What kind of camera are you going to use? I would recommend that you do a few tests. Your camera that's on your computer, like your laptop or something, is probably pretty bad. Your cell phone camera is going to be significantly better than that. But maybe you can't use your cell phone. Maybe you can. So if you're going to use your cell phone, make sure that it's set up somewhere correctly so that someone can see it. But you might not be able to use your cell phone because you might have to type and do some other things. So depending on if you're using your PC or cell phone, just pay attention to the camera quality. If you can, I totally recommend that you get a nice camera. You can buy a good Logitech webcam for like $50. So if you have that opportunity, it will improve the quality of your video significantly. All right, so that's tech video, tech microphone. The microphone on your computer is, again, not very good. So if you have the opportunity, buy a good microphone. You can get good microphones off Amazon for like $10. But that video and sound quality are something that's important and to pay attention to. Now, maybe you can't do anything like that. Maybe you have a laptop and that's all that you have to work with. That's okay. It's not going to be terrible. I'm just telling you how you can improve it. If you have the opportunity, if you have some kind of external mic, some kind of camera, you can borrow from your school, borrow from your workplace, do it because it will improve quality significantly. All right, so that's that. Next step, public speaking. So, I say that and maybe it's like a turnoff for people, but you need to learn how to speak. You have to be able to speak to a camera. So, like my camera is a little above my computer, and wherever your camera is, even if it's the top of your screen, you're not going to want to be like looking down here and typing or like looking at people over here on your one monitor while your camera's right here. You need to be looking at your microphone and camera so that you're talking into it. Your eyes, just think, your audience's eye is the camera. So that's where you're looking. Next thing you got to think, what are your arms going to be doing, while you're talking? Are they going to be swimming around like this? Or are they going to be hidden behind your back, or just something odd? Like, pay attention, make it so that it's natural. When you speak, obviously, you don't want to say like lots of ums and likes, and people are always going to say, and it's okay to say that kind of stuff, but consciously pay attention to not saying that. It does take practice. It's really, really strange talking into a camera with no audience there. It's very weird at first. It takes a lot of practice to learn how to do it. I've been doing this for years and it's still really awkward sometimes, and sometimes I just get stuck. And I mean, it's very, very weird because you're talking to people, but they're like not there. So it's strange because you can't always read like their expressions and their emotions. And so that's the next thing, is that since you can't really read expressions and emotions, you always have to make sure that is there a chat where users can check in? Can they check in? Make sure that you're communicating with them and making sure they follow by checking whether they follow, whether they have questions. Because you don't want them to just be completely lost in you just talking. All right, and to go on with that, it's good to pause, but you have to remember that this is like a show. So just imagine if you were watching TV or you were listening to the radio and the person presenting just stopped and was just like looking down or something. No, it doesn't work like that. This is like imagine that this is like a show that's like continuing, like we're going. So you're not stopping. You can't fumble around and look for something on your desk, or no, you have stuff ready. If I'm going to show something, I have it right on my desk. Here is my Game Boy, and today I'm going to talk about the Nintendo. You have it right there, ready to go, right in front of you, so it's not stumbling around. You probably even just heard me set that down. There was a noise picked up by my mic when I set the object down. You have to prepare for that, but you have to keep going. There is no stopping. There's not a pause when you're teaching live to a class. You don't just stop. You want to make it as good as possible. So you want to keep going. So, I don't prepare a word for word script, but what I like to do is I like to have an outline so that I know okay, topic 1, topic 2, and I can quickly glance down at my computer or whatever I have. If I even had to decide, I can just look quick, boom, right on that, got my topic, on to the next thing. I have my main points that I want to talk about. Okay, so if you're the person that gets nervous, figure out what you can personally do to make yourself less nervous. Have water. It's okay to drink water. Pay attention to yourself, your breathing. Make sure that you're relaxed if you need to. So if you're not sure, one of the things I like to recommend people do before they practice video interviewing or video teaching or anything like that is do a couple presentations to yourself on the computer, record them, and go back and watch it and say, oh yeah, I didn't like that. Oh, why does the screen look bad? Why is the sound quality bad? Do a couple test runs and pick yourself apart. You learn a lot by watching yourself and seeing what you do and figuring out what you like and what you don't like. And on that same token, go onto YouTube or wherever, Twitch or whatever website it is you want to go to, and watch people that you want to be like and learn how to mimic some of their good qualities. You're well, that person's a really good speaker. I would love to present like them and be able to do that. So how did they do, these 1 or 2 things that I want to just try to incorporate in what I'm doing? And then another thing to consider, pay attention to the light where you're actually presenting. Is it, what time of day it is. Is this night where you're going to have a light on in a room, or is it a dark room, or is the sun going to be beaming in your face in the middle of this? Do you need to have your curtains closed? These are just things around your house. Do you have pets? Are your pets going to jump up on your lap? Is that okay for this video or not? Is your kid going to come bursting in the room? Because that happens to me all the time. I have a 4-year-old, 7-year-old, and 9-year-old, and they burst into my office all the time. So are you prepared to deal with that stuff? Do you have a plan that if there's a pause or interruption, you can come back, compose yourself, and get ready to actually present again? And that's a basic rundown of things that I would consider, that's a high level list of things you want to consider the first time you're presenting. Let's just run through it again. So we're talking about, first of all, your presentation, your look and your appearance. Do you look the way you want to? Then we're going to talk about your background and your scene, what's behind you. Or are you using a green screen? Are you just going to have a tidy room? We don't want to show things like dirty clothes, someone getting out of the shower, that kind of stuff. It does happen. I've seen it before during class, and it should not happen. So just be prepared for that. Focus on your tech. You know, I've slowly over the years upgraded my camera, mic, computer, all that stuff. Maybe you don't have an option. Maybe you're just using your phone. Surprisingly, your phone's actually really good. The mic and camera quality are going to be better than what's on your just standard laptop. So that's actually not a bad option. And if you are using the phone, really look at like where you look. Like you don't usually want to have the camera down so that it's looking up on you. Usually you'd rather have it up. So it's actually looking down on you rather than up, especially when you're using your phone, because it just looks really weird. But play around with that kind of stuff so that it looks and sounds the way you want to. You know, and then focus on your organization, focus on your public speaking, make sure that you are, you know, talking clearly, that you're talking to the camera. You really just want to make sure that you have a good, organized, smooth lesson. Be prepared for interruptions. Make sure you're checking on the class. All those little tips will make you have a successful class. And finally, a big tip, make sure you know how to use all the technology you're actually going to show the class. So you're not like stumbling around like, oh, how do I mute people? Or how do I do this? You know, you're going to be using Zoom, Adobe Connect, Google Hangouts, Skype, whatever it is you're using. There's a million pieces of software out there. I'm seeing people in schools, workplaces just use all kinds of different stuff. You know, we use Zoom at my university, but like I've also used all kinds of other equipment. So just like, you know, make sure that you know how to use it. Do a couple test runs with your video, audio. Make sure you record yourself. Go back and watch it. See what it looks like. Those are just some basic tips to get you started. I hope that I've helped somewhere, and you know you're able to just do a much better presentation. Because I want you to be able to do a good presentation. It's so important. It makes you feel so good when you hear someone after your presentation say, "Hey, you know what? You did a really good job." And I want you to be able to hear that. Thank you very much.